We have, I think this is the fourth Sunday that we have started on this journey called the Highway of Grace. And the journey we started on is called You Just Make No Sense. And today you will find out that these things just don't make no sense. If you can understand that you cannot make sense out of what God did for me, especially when you evaluate whom you are and whom I am, and see that it don't make no sense for the Son of God to die for me. You will, I promise you, this past 4 weeks, I'm laying foundation for you to really get. I'm not giving you the theology of grace. I'm giving you the revelation of grace. And I want grace to be revealed in your spirit first, so that when information starts coming, it will be planted in the soil of revelation. The problem why people cannot convert revelation information into fruit is because your information, what you read, what you study, what you hear, is not planted in the soil of revelation. So information just becomes the letter. And what does the letter do? And that is why some people try to get an answer to their problem by coming to church for information. But until you really get a revelation in your spirit that, yes, God so loved the world, that's universal. But God so loved me, that's personal. Until you get the revelation that this is not a brushing of God's love, but it is individual and personal to me. Oh, I can tell you some Bible stories and we all shout and rejoice and go home. But when you don't, when you are not, when something, if something did not happen here that caused you to cry when you are on your way driving, if something didn't cause your spirit in the bathroom to drop your toothbrush and look at yourself in the mirror and feel like breaking the mirror, if something did not occur on the inside, that you look in the ceiling, I want to punch a hole through the roof and ask God and get to heaven and ask God and say, why? Because the whole thing I've been trying to do in this message of grace is for you to have the question, why? It's for you to look God in the face and say, God, he just don't make no sense. Why do you love me? Why do you do this for me? Why me, Lord? If you don't get to the why question, then you are still lost in your own self-ego. And you can't curse a cat, you can't cast out a mosquito, you can't do nothing for yourself. It was grace that brought me this far. When you know that, I'm planting a foundation, when you know that, you are not worried about who condemned you.
That's right.
You are not worried about who said, what are you doing in the church? You know you ain't no good. Yeah, I know I ain't no good. That's why.
That's right now.
If I was that good, I won't go. But I know I wasn't no good. That's
why. All right now.
We feel that grace is for those who are right and perfect. But grace is for the one that ain't no perfect, that needs something to make him. Tell your neighbor, grace is for me. Notice now, I didn't tell you to tell them grace is for them. Tell your neighbor, grace is for me. Let's try now. Now, those of you who know me, you know by now that my wagon is loaded this morning. I want to touch briefly on a subject that's called grace, the expression of God's love.